Hello, everyone. This is Archit Kadicharla. Welcome to Signal from Noise. This is a podcast where I speak with builders, product leaders, innovators, um, and business leaders about AI in the prop tech and contech spaces. Um, the idea here is again, there's so much noise about AI in these spaces. How about we sort of cut through all the noise and try and understand, what really is getting built, leveraging AI or AI first or AI focused in our product suite that serves the prop tech and that serves the real estate value chain essentially. Today, we've got Jason Howden, who's the CIO, Chief Innovation Officer at Revizto. Jason, welcome to Signal from Noise.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Super. So, Jason, maybe to kick things off, can you tell our viewers and listeners about a quick brief about Revizto and then your role at Revizto?
All right. So Revizto is a integrated collaboration hub. Our technology was founded by Arm and our founder many years ago. And before joining Revizto, I was one of the global champions championing Revizto use on actual projects around the world. So I've used Revizto and Anger on hundreds of projects, and it was a game changer. And the vision Armin had with the technology was to gamify construction and break down the traditional silos that exist in construction. Construction is very complex, a lot of silos of data, and not really making the best use of that data going out there. And what Revizto does is brings that all together so you have a single source of truth, and everybody's working off the same page at the same time for the first time, which is amazing technology, really. In my role at Revizto as Chief Innovation Officer, I serve as a lighthouse both internally and externally. Internally, with our development team and our customer success team, trying to predict where our customers are going and what kind of workflows that they're getting into, and what we need to build and what features we need to focus on to help our customers stay ahead of their competitors and really maximize digital adoption in construction. Externally for our customers, I'm that lighthouse that's trying to look beyond the horizon. I get asked a lot about my thoughts on technology. I've been implementing technology on projects around the world for 30 years, and people want to tap into what I've seen in the past. I started my life on a drawing board. I implemented CAD. I then implemented BIM, and now AI. And I'm just itching with excitement with AI coming on board. I do see some amazing things coming over the horizon anytime soon.
Jason, that's a great setup and nicely weaves into the next set of questions that we'll delve into. So it's interesting that you mentioned you're looking over the horizon both internally and externally. So how do you think about maybe the question set I have is how do you think about embedding AI into the Revizto product suite, or even how do you think about sort of Revizto in terms of is it AI first or AI enabled? But before we get there, maybe a little bit more detail about what exactly Revizto does, maybe a couple of use cases, maybe that might help provide some color to our listeners and viewers.
Mm. A good way to dive deep into it. So, at its core, Revizto is an integrated model-based technology, but it goes beyond just the model. And I've seen BIM firsthand for many years fail because it only addressed that one component, the model. Construction involves many facets of data. What Revizto does is it combines the 2D drawings with the data in the model, and then layers that with an issue tracker on top. So you get this holistic way of working from end to end inside a single platform that's available via a mobile phone, tablet, out in the field, all the way through to the design office or construction site hub where they might have laptops and hardware that can support even larger scale models than mobile devices. And that's unique. Typically in the industry, we're all working off multiple formats. And what Revizto does is really break down all of those silos. No longer you're working on a disconnected spreadsheet or a disconnected RFI. You're looking at integrated information that's the same no matter whether you're in the field on a construction site or in the design office. And you can make decisions in real time and pass that communication instantly with Revizto.
Got it. So, given that sort of frame, how do you think about looking at what AI features to build into the product suite? And do you think about it as AI first, or do you think about existing features and benefits and leveraging AI to sort of make them faster, better, easier, more collaborative? What's the philosophical sort of bent there?
When we were discussing before the official podcast started, and look, I don't mean to upset any viewers, but this is a quote that's hung with me for many decades, and it hangs true today in the world of AI. Shit in, shit out, and it's really important that we focus on this aspect. AI is going to enhance whatever is thrown at it. If it's bad data, you're probably going to get more bad outcomes, and it's just going to make things more confusing, more complex. If it's good quality data, it's just going to enhance that. So you're going to be able to make better decisions faster with more predictability. And we want those kind of outcomes. So our first focus is protecting our customers' data and making sure that that data is resilient and reliable. Reliable information is the most important thing on a construction site. And we know that from the surveys that we've done over the last 2 years. 90 something percent of our customers have said access to quality information is the most important thing when delivering a large scale project. And when you think about that from a practical sense, if you're banking multiple hundreds of millions of dollars on a single project, or even billions of dollars on a single project, you want to make sure you've got all your decisions made right the first time. You don't want to be kind of thinking it up on the fly and then having to spend even more money that you didn't plan for. But that's the typical story in the construction sector.
Makes sense. And if we were to double click and get into a specific use case and say, how are you thinking about building an AI first feature or AI enabled feature? Can you walk us through that?
And I think that comes in multiple formats. We're currently exploring what we can do with AI, but I think one of the big passions that Armin and I have for the construction sector is mobilizing digital and mobilizing data to the entire process. It's not lost on me every time I go and visit customers' sites, construction sites, how little I see digital actually used in the field. And it's reported. Construction hangs at the bottom of the industries that have adopted digital. You know, we're right down there with fishing.
Mhm.
Even agriculture is ahead of us. There's work to be done and there's opportunity that abounds in this space. So, one of those AI areas that I think is a dead ringer for development and features to come to Revizto is to just speak to Revizto. Natural human interface. So we've removed the barriers. Revizto is well known around the world for its intuitiveness, its ease of use by everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a plumber or a design architect. Everybody can use Revizto and needs very, very little training. You can onboard with Revizto in under 10 to 15 minutes, which is unheard of in the BIM space. You know, a lot of people spend months and months. But what if you could just simply ask Revizto and go, hey, Revizto, where are my critical issues today? And it just served them up on your
Mhm.
mobile phone
Mhm.
while you're about to walk on site. That I think is one of those key enablers that will help shift the dial in the construction sector.
Got it. So that sounds like more conversational AI kind of interfaces that you're building into the product suite. Would you say that's probably the bigger thrust versus looking at sort of more machine learning enabled AI kind of plays in your
No, I
product suite?
think these are multiple things that we're exploring in real time at the moment. But we want to make sure that we're building our foundations right. It's critical that the data is protected for our customers and the data that's served up is accurate. So we want to make sure that that's right first. Next, we want to make sure that we've got open APIs that can support multiple avenues of, I guess, exploration, especially by AI. And the third piece there is making sure that we've got enough integrations to support where all the data flows from. We do see Revizto at the heart of every project going forward. And I think it's a good way to think about it is if Revizto is at the heart of every project, what are all the things that we need to put in place as foundation stones that then we can build on top with AI? And
Mhm.
then automated clash detection and all sorts of other exciting things can start to roll out from there. If we get that foundation solid, just like a building, solid foundations, solid building. And we want to do the same with our AI approach.
Okay. I think a recurring theme in conversations has been, look, at the end of the day, AI is an enabler. Ultimately, customers are paying for business outcomes, not just products and services. And in light of the comment that you made earlier on about you being the lighthouse internally and externally, how do you sort of look at the world in terms of what do customers need, and how do you sort of develop the sort of intuition plus judgment to see, hey, what's coming down the pike? What do we need to build? Is it a lot of customer conversations? Is it, 3 decades you've had in the field? Combination of the above? What's driving that engine?
It is all of the above. I've had a unique experience to have had 3 decades in the industry and seen the industry evolve on multiple continents around the world. That unique experience gives me good intuition to what projects are doing around the world. But the piece I love the most with Revizto is getting out and seeing our customers, whether it's in a design office and seeing the breakneck design that's coming through for the next generation of sports stadiums, or out on a construction site and seeing how they're mobilizing the cranes and putting the concrete into place for 50,000 square meters of flooring. I find all of those avenues fascinating, and it just excites me to get up on the day and get into it.
Got it. Got it. And is there a certain, when you say customers, can you again give us a flavor? Are you talking mostly sort of BIM VDC managers and directors? Are you thinking more PMs on a construction site? What kind of describes your sort of target audience the best?
All and everyone. And I will talk to a junior labourer who might be first week on site, all the way through to the CEO of some of the largest multinationals. I don't mind talking with customers at every level, even state governments and authorities that are mandating or writing policy. I like to get involved in every facet and share my expertise in that space to really help customers solve their problems. And that's at the core of what I like to do. I like to solve problems, and the bigger the problem, the more fun it is to me.
Super. And in the instance of the laborer or the sort of essentially the site worker, how would they use Revizto? They would essentially go to Revizto to understand what is the latest and greatest model and what should actually dictate their work that week, that day. Is that a good way to look at it?
That's a really good starting point. But because Revizto also supports VR and augmented reality (AR), we're now starting to see that, well, not even just the next generation, even the senior generation, my generation, that are donning mixed reality headsets and stepping into their building before they go and build it. So you can think of Revizto as enabling a build it twice approach to the construction industry. The construction industry lacks something that the manufacturing industry has had for many years. Manufacturing, you can build a prototype, you can perfect a prototype, and then you go into production. With construction, you get one go. You're one and done the first time. But with Revizto, you can model it digitally, and then you can road test how that building fits together. Do all your site logistics digitally. And then when you go and do it for real, you've already rehearsed it, so you kind of know the order that things need to happen in, and then you can start to predict supply chains and how things are coming to site. And I see this. This is where AI is going to add another level of efficiency. So instead of putting the heavy load on BIM managers or VDC professionals, they start to scale themselves with virtual assistants. They can do that kind of repetitive work that's required to scale to the size of a large multi-billion-dollar hospital.
That's a great example. Can you just double click on that? What might be a nice sort of workflow and use case where the virtual agent might come into play?
Ah, aligning program, say a program from Oracle P6 or it's one of those kind of programming tools that project managers use, and then they might outline the program for installation for all the ductwork on level 12 of a hospital. Um, if you could have AI connect the program sequence to the model elements inside Revizto and then replay that in real time, you could then start to set up a supply chain sequence where it's just in time to site. I've worked on a job where we modeled all of the pieces of ductwork. We gave all the pieces of ductwork an individual barcode. They were all manufactured 6 months in advance, stored in a warehouse, and then they were brought to site just in time for installation. So there was no on-site worrying about it getting wet, damaged, kicked, or run over by a forklift. It was just brought to site when it was going to be installed. So it just streamlined the efficiency on site to, levels never seen before. And then when you go and look at the finished product, it looks great because it was installed how it was meant to be installed, following the model, and the wastage had just dropped to the floor, like almost 0% wastage because nobody's kicking it and giving it a dent, and then it's going to landfill, and then a new piece is being made. So you're paying for all this rework and all this waste that goes to landfill. Construction's very wasteful. And if we can just add and layer technology on top of the processes that we have, maybe we can clean a big chunk of the problem that we have with climate change up, because construction is one of the biggest contributors to climate change.
That's a beautiful example because it touches on so many sort of value pieces, right? Whether it's cost, efficiency, time, and ultimately about sustainability as well, like you said. So I think there's clearly the value that can be sort of consumed by on multiple levels by different stakeholders. Jason, just shifting gears a little, what have you seen in terms of challenges for building AI products in this space?
But it's not just AI, it's any digital product in this space. Construction or AECO is very risk averse. It's a high risk game. It's a game. It's almost like a zero sum game. You win or you lose. I remember a business owner telling me it's zero to hero in one project and hero to zero in the next. And that's the scale of what we do in construction. It's big risk, it's low margin, it's tight time frames, skill shortages. There's all of these kind of perfect storm scenarios. So when it comes to onboarding technology, particularly technology that might be new and untested and therefore untrusted, people are very risk averse to it. So they kind of like, oh, well, let somebody else try that out. Kind of let the competitors try it out. And if they fail, well, yay, they're no longer in the game. So more for me is kind of that unspoken hesitation. But with AI coming on board, I think there's a new energy, a new awareness that we need to do something in this space, but be pragmatic and practical. Look for the problems, not the noise, not the fluff, not the hype, but look for the problems and layer AI on top of existing processes to smooth those problems.
So I think what I'm hearing is start with a specific opportunity, specific problem statement, have a solution for that, and then do layer by layer, add to the functionality, add to the sort of use cases, and then build something instead of the classic sort of, we are going to start this massive AI program, top down, vision, mission, and that takes a longer time for value to be delivered to the project.
I've seen so much vaporware over the decades, and in the amount of times, hey, if I got paid $1 for every time somebody told me they were going to invent something that was going to solve this industry, I'd be a multimillionaire. The the industry is complex, and at the end of the day, it's built in the real world. No matter what we do in the digital world, still somewhere in the world there is a bricklayer laying bricks in the rain. And that's how buildings come together. It's people and materials coming together. That craft in the real world still happens. We're not yet at a point where robots or 3D printers are building buildings at scale.
And it's fascinating you bring that up because if you take a step back and think about it, it is one of the most complex human endeavors, I would argue. right? Sure, we're not talking brain surgery, but this is the act of having multiple trades come in and plug in their own pieces into the pie, if you will, of building a 10-story or a 50-story structure that's an office space or a hospital complex is just fascinating if you think about all the complex systems that sit in a building, whether it's elevators or lights or HVAC or plumbing or all the different pieces that come together. And it's probably one of the most, sort of risk-prone endeavors as well, which is why, there's a lot of data floating around risk on construction projects and data on construction projects, historically being unutilized, not being reported, to not being collected, to now being underutilized, to underreported, and therefore opens up a ton of value, I suppose, for technology and AI to play into this complex space.
There's oodles of opportunity, and you touch on a great point. This is I feel that this industry is the most underappreciated, misunderstood, but amazing industry on the planet. The construction industry enables everything. A data center wouldn't function without the building it sits in. A rocket doesn't launch to space without the factory that helped build it or the platform that it sits on. So everything cool and exciting in our world was enabled by construction. But somewhere along the lines, we just expected it, and it became the norm. Centuries ago, buildings were revered. I've been to the pyramids. I've seen all of what's amazing in Egypt, and it is mind-blowing. It's taken me decades to really, truly appreciate this industry. And I think that's one of the challenges with this industry. It's a lifelong journey. You're amazed when you first enter it into the industry. You get frustrated in your kind of middle career because it feels like it's stagnating and it's moving slow. And I've been credited of saying, there's only one thing that moves slower than construction industry, and that was glaciers. But with climate change, they're actually moving much faster. So maybe it is the slowest thing, but at the same time, it's this amazing ecosystem where professionals come together every day to build the world around us that enables everything in the modern world. Every single thing. Even our mobile phones are built inside in a factory. There might be a dark factory with no people in it, but there's a building that supports that manufacturing. And I think that's just fascinating. And if we can help educate people to understand the amazing opportunities that lie inside construction, because of its beautiful magic of being at its grassroots simple, but then complex all at the same time. It's this crazy paradox of everything is kind of juxtaposition. Pipes are installed in a hospital the same way as they're installed in a house, but the quantum of pipes in a hospital and the systems involved in a hospital make it complex, but it's the same process.
Jason, that would be the best possible note to end this conversation on. I'd love to continue on, but like we said, I want to make this sort of bite-sized, sort of sitcom episode style, and I couldn't think of a better way to sort of wrap up the conversation than on this high about how exciting it is to be in the space and serve clients with technology in the real estate and construction value chain. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, sharing your insights and giving us a peek into how you think about sort of building AI-enabled products at Revizto and beyond.
Brilliant. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jason. Have a good day.
You too.